we're going to add content to the banner area at the top of the web page. Let's look at our finished website project to kind of define what that's going to be. So you'll notice that we do have our logo and our navigation that we've already added as content. It's not styled, but it's the same content. So what we're going to add to this banner area, which goes from the top of the page to the bottom of this blue area, we're going to add a container called banner wrapper, and we're going to put this image in the background. We're going to tint it blue. Inside of that, we're going to nest another container, and we're going to put the H1 WorkStat stationery and the content text right here in a nested div. And we're just going to call that one container. And then inside of that, we're going to put an article, because I'm using the concept of HTML5 semantic area of article for each of my pieces of content of text. So that's what this will be. When we get down to these, each one of these three areas will also be an individual article. That'll be an article, this will be an article, and this column will be an article. But right now, we're just going to focus on putting the content into the banner area. So let's go to our code editor. And we're going to code our container for the whole banner. We're going to do a div with a custom class called banner-wrapper so we can add CSS to it. For that, we're going to put this above our header area. We're going to nest our header inside of that, and that's going to be div for one of our containers. And we're going to call that custom class banner-wrapper. And close the bracket down here. Then we want to come all the way down below our header, but before we get to the main area, we're going to close that div down here. Just clean up the code a little bit, move that over. Nothing's going to change because we haven't written any CSS and we've added no new content yet. So let's just keep adding to this banner content. So let's add our nested container inside of this. And we're going to nest this one and call this one div. And we're going to have this class of container. So we're going to put this one after the header. So we're nesting this inside the banner wrapper. So we're putting a new div in. Put a custom class on that so we can style what's inside of there. And we're going to call this container. We've used this class before, and it's going to be really functional in our narrow single column view for our mobile display or our mobile viewport. Let's come down here and close the div. I'm going to indent that so I can see the difference between the banner wrapper and the container div. Alright, so let's actually put some content in here. Everything in here is going to be in an article. So I'm going to add the article in. It makes it really correct as far as HTML5 semantic content as far as defining areas. So I'm going to put an article in here. I'm not going to apply any class to that right now, and I'm going to go down and close the article right before we close the container div. All right, now that I have that, I want to actually add my H1 into this area. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put my H1 and it's going to say WorkStat Stationery. So it's going to be inside the article. And that's the convention we're going to use for all the content on this page, even in the other articles. We'll use H2 there because they're less dominant, but in this one we're going to use an H1. And I'm just going to say WorkStat Stationery. I'm going to close my H1. And I'm going to check that. I'm going to see if some new content has shown up in our browser. Go back to browser, go back to our page we're working on. And there's our H1, so things are going fine. Let's go ahead and now we're going to add this text content right here. So I'm going to code that into a paragraph tag that's nested inside of the article. So let's go back to our code. And I'm going to do a p tag, opening p tag here. Come down a little bit. Do my closing p tag. Clean this up a little bit. And I'm going to go over and get the content from my document that I've already created. So I'm going to use this content right here. Copy that. Come back over and place that inside our paragraph tags. I'm going to save that and look at my document. All right, so I have some content. So that is all of the banner content we're going to add. We will add that background image, but this is all the structural content I'm going to be adding. So next video, we're going to start styling this with CSS to start making it look attractive.